What's going on? In this video, I'm going to be doing a specific email marketing strategy for this brand, Salt and Stone. Now, I don't know how big this brand is. I've just seen them around a few times, and they seem like a nice, clean, minimalistic, aesthetic brand who sell a pretty solid set of products. So we're going to build them out a full email marketing strategy. Salt and Stone owners, if you guys are watching this, I'll hook you up. And yeah, let's get into it. You're going to see me pause multiple times throughout this video, but that's just because there's a lot of different things I'm going to be switching between. Let's get into it. All right, so the first aspect here is their campaign strategy. So if you've watched my videos before, you know the way that we do this is that we decide on these 5 things before we actually build out the campaign calendar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these 5 things out and then explain to you why I did that. All right, so we have built out each aspect of the campaign strategy. So now I'm going to tell you why I did what I did, and then we'll get into the actual campaign calendar. So first of all, you've got sending volume. So sending volume is obviously just how much we're actually sending to the list in terms of emails. So I went with 4 to 5 times per week for this brand. There's a lot of different angles and ideas we can test for Salt and Stone here because of, 1, they have so many products. 2, they have they're kind of in like the health, cleanliness type of space. So there's a lot of different angles you can take with that. There's a lot of different directions you can go, especially with each product and different use cases. So we can send pretty often. 4 to 5 times a week, I think, is probably a solid little balance to sit at. As for plain text versus design emails, so I went with 1-to-1. The main reason I did that instead of more heavily plain text is because I feel like this is a brand that wants to stay pretty branded and they want to maintain a lot of brand equity. And because it's so minimalist, we can do that and still use good copy. If you don't already know, I have a whole other video about branded copy versus direct response copy, but direct response copy is more so trying to make the sale now, while branded copy is more so just trying to get the reader to build a relationship with your brand. And I feel like for Salt and Stone, we could take a little bit more of a direct response approach because right now everything is very branded, and I think just a slight increase in the level of direct response they use would be really valuable for them. But yeah, in terms of plain text versus design emails, 1-to-1 plain text to design, which just means half and half. So we'll move with that for that reason. If you have any more questions on this, please leave a reply to this video, and I'll explain anything that doesn't make sense. But segmentation. So for this, I wrote down 2 to 3 engaged segment emails per week, which is going to be the bulk of the emails. 1 email a week to non-buyers. This could be 1 every 1 to 2 weeks. Same thing with this, 1 a week to repeat buyers that have not gotten on subscribe and save yet. So I can see here that they offer subscribe and save up here for 15% off. And the end goal for brands that offer this is to get everyone on to subscribe and save. So we want to hit anyone who's a buyer or a repeat buyer that hasn't subscribed yet and try to get them on to subscribe and save. So that's a little look into the segmentation. And yeah, let's move on to promotional versus valuable content. So I've got right here a 3-to-1 ratio on average between value to promotional content. Value content is going to be your angles that are genuinely intriguing, interesting, valuable, stuff like that. Whereas promotional content is going to be like your sales, your buy now type stuff, like more stuff that you would send probably to non-buyers, stuff like that. But the key to email marketing is putting in as much valuable stuff and engaging content as you can, because after all, these people aren't going to be on your list just to be sold to every single email. Obviously, we will sell in every single email. We do that all the time, but we give some sort of value or engaging topic in order to do it. So we give value while selling at the same time instead of the nurture, now sell method. And it works quite well. Moving on to SMS volume. So I just put here 1 to 2 times a week. That could be to engage segments. That could be to non-buyers. That could be whatever makes sense for the week. And then an important thing to note here is for this campaign strategy, we're not going to factor in holidays or anything like that because I'm just going to show you, because it's kind of obvious. If there's a holiday, obviously you would just give that week to the holiday or however long you're running the sale. This is going to be purely just based off evergreen content like this that you can use for your brand, because it seems to be a really common limiting belief that there's not any evergreen content that any brand could send out. But yeah, I'm going to kind of like disprove that in this video. So let's move on to the campaign calendar and start building this out. So here we've got our Salt and Stone campaign calendar. We're going to act as if May hasn't started yet, and we'll just make it for the month of May. So where do we start? We start by pretty much just formulating everything that we just put together. So let me get like a base idea together, and then I'll come back. All right, so at this point, I built out the first week of May. We're just going to skip these 3 days here because we're going to assume that was already prepared in April. But we've got the first week of May here, and I'm going to walk you through everything I did here and why I did it. So first of all, we'll start on Monday. So here on Monday, we've got an email. So you can see here, this is the segmentation. Then you can see here, this is the type of email. And then here you can see the goal of the email. And I'll walk you through each step of this. This is the way we structure our campaign calendars when we build them out for clients. So first, you've got engaged all time. So these are this is a segment of people that have opened an email or clicked an email at least one time over the entire extent that they've been on your email list. And they have to be an active subscriber. So it's essentially your whole list, right? And then I added exclusions apply here because you might be excluding your in welcome series people, the people that are currently actively in your welcome series flow. You might be excluding your active subscribe and save members, stuff like that. I'm just not going to list them all out for simplicity, but just note that that's an important part of this. Next, this is going to be a plain text hybrid email. The reason being that's just part of the strategy we laid out. We want to do plain text design. Plain text hybrid is kind of just like a different type of plain text. Then you've got the goal. So the goal for this email is to just use a valuable, engaging email angle with a soft call to action to sell deodorants. And the reason there's not a specific angle here is because that's the copywriter's job to take this template, and we will fill out a full email brief that'll be ready for the copywriter, and then generate an angle from it. So I recommend building out your campaign calendar this way so it's nice and simple and easy and flexible. And then when it's time to write and design each email, you have a bank of proven angles that you can pull from and use AI to iterate on so that you never run out of ideation and ideas to use for emails. So I have a full separate YouTube video showing you exactly how to do that at a high level. It's something about how you can create unlimited email angles for your e-commerce brand. Go on my channel and watch that after this. It's extremely valuable if you haven't already seen it. Now, we're going to move on to the next. So as you can see here, actually, let me just point this out. We're kind of doing a staggered effect here. So we're going from engaged all time, then we're going to go to 30-day engaged, and then 15-day engaged. The reason I like to do that is because then you cast a wide net on Monday so that more people might be engaged for these emails as they get into tighter segments. Because obviously 30-day engaged are people that have opened or clicked in the last 30 days, which is obviously going to be less people than have opened or clicked over all time. So for this one, we're making this one a design email. Same type of thing. It's just a valuable, engaging email angle with a soft call to action, but this time it's to body products. Then we're doing a similar thing here for 15-day engaged, except obviously the segment is tighter. Again, this one's going to be a design. If you remember earlier, I listed that we're going to do a 1-to-1, half-and-half ratio of plain text to design. And then this one's a call to action to candles. Again, soft call to action. We want to sell in every email, but we want to primarily give value and build trust with the list, but we can sell at the same time. There's no reason not to. Next, so this is where things get a little bit different. These three were engaged segments. And that's exactly what I mentioned we do in our campaign strategy right here, is that we do 2 to 3x emails per week to engage segments. But now we've got 1 to non-buyers and then 1 to repeat buyers. So non-buyers, this one is going to be plain text, and it's going to sell these non-buyers on deodorant as their first ever purchase. So you can do like a longer plain text email with a like really intense angle that's a little bit more direct response, or you could use just like a well-presented design email. It's really about testing to see what works best with your brand. If you want advice on exactly how to set up a split testing framework, I also have a YouTube video on that went up just a few videos before this one. So go check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, really good emails to send out to non-buyers, try to convert them into buyers. Then on Fridays, we're going to go with an email to repeat buyers. So these are people that have bought 2 times or more. And then we're going to exclude subscribe and save members, send them a design email. And we're just going to clearly display the benefits of subscribe and save and get them to join. That's all this email is for. Make it clear what the benefits are. Make it clear that they could be saving, because these are people that have already bought multiple times. Now, all it's left to do from here, so for example, this campaign strategy, we're going to keep it really simple and use this timeline across every week. In reality, it might get a little bit more messy. You might have some sales, or a certain day you want to do a certain campaign. Maybe you do a highlight of the month, something like that that's specific to your brand. For this example, we're going to act as if we're doing this for every week, and this would work quite well. So we're going to go with that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now the whole campaign calendar is set up for the month of May. A couple important notes I want to make here that I didn't clarify before. One is that not all people are going to receive 5 emails a week. We're sending 5 emails a week, but that doesn't mean everyone will receive them. The people that are way less engaged might only receive this one every week. The non-buyers might receive these 4 if they're engaged. The people that are really engaged but are just like one-time buyers might only receive these 3. People that are repeat buyers but aren't very engaged might only receive like this one and this one. So as you can see, the segmentation splits this up. So although we're sending every single day of the week, people aren't receiving an email from us every single day of the week. But next aspect of this is the SMS. So I mentioned earlier that we were going to do 1 to 2 SMS per week. So we're going to add those in, and I'll just add those quick and then come back. Okay, so we've now built out the entire calendar. We have SMS added as well. So as you can see here, we've got a non-buyers SMS added on Thursdays every day of the week. And then every other week, we added a Saturday SMS to 30-day engaged. So I'll just go through the first ones for each. So for non-buyers, you can see this is a non-buyers SMS where we're going to plug a review, like a product review, and then link it to the deodorants collection. So that's just an example. Then the other ones are different types of goals and different products being promoted. And then as for the 30-day engaged one, so this is going to go to the engaged SMS list. And for this one, it's just going to be an engaging email with a graphic or a design of actual product. And it's going to be selling body products. And then this one will just be a different product. So as you can see, the full calendar is built out here. One more note I want to make is that, for simplicity, we just laid it out like this. But for your non-buyer emails, you could mix it up. So this one's all non-buyers. And then for this week, you could go non-buyers that are 30-day engaged. So people that haven't bought but are engaging with emails somewhat regularly. Then go non-buyers, then go non-buyers 30-day engaged. That's just one example of how you can mix it up. Similarly here, we can go repeat buyers here, and then just go one-time buyers here. Repeat, one time. As you can see, just mix it up a little bit. So that's it for the campaign strategy part of this. Now we're going to move on to flows and opt-in. So starting with the opt-in form, this is exactly what was shown on their website. And it's solid. I'm assuming just based on how simple it is, I think it probably converts pretty well, especially because it's a discount on their order. So some things I would consider testing. So we'll add potential tests here. For potential tests here, I would test no image. Actually, let's begin. So the order that you want to test things in is offer, copy, image. So for the offer test, I would test 10%, which is the control. Let me get this on the top. So I would test 10%, which is the control, versus AOV times 10% in dollars. So for example, if their AOV, their average order value, if that's $50, 10% of that would be $5. So in this test, it would be 10% off versus $5 off. Test that and see if one converts better than the other. Next, for the copy test. So like I said, you want to test offer, then copy, then design. So for the copy here, I would test a bold headline versus no headline, which is what they have right now, which is the control. I would also test in the copy no. So this, if you consider this first sentence the headline, unlock 10% off your first order, and then plus exclusive offers. This plus exclusive offers, early access to launches, and more doesn't really do anything. Like, it doesn't hold any value. So I would test no subheader at all. So just the one sentence. Another really interesting thing that we've been finding lately is that adding a question page before the actual opt-in page tends to out-convert just the raw opt-in page. And what I mean by that is that before they see this opt-in, they get a page just like it, but it says, do you want 10% off your first order? And then it simply has a yes or a no. If people click yes, it'll move on to this page, and then they would opt in. You would think that that would lower conversions, but in the test we ran, it's actually helped conversions. So I would test using a question page before the email opt-in. Let's move on to design tests. So something I'd test in the design here is no image. Then I would also test a dark theme, even though that may be against their branding guidelines based on what I can see on the site, since everything seems to be white for the most part. So that might be against their branding guidelines, but I would test a dark theme versus a light theme, which is what this is. So we can say dark theme versus light theme. Next, I think I would probably test just a different image. I'd probably test a lifestyle image with people in it versus the control, which is this. I think that's about it for what I would test here. And yeah, see if you can boost those conversions. And then obviously the SMS opt-in came after this. There's different things we could have tested there, but we're just going to focus on the email opt-in for now. So yeah, let's move on to flows. So there are a few core flows that every brand should have set up. Let me just map those out quick. Okay, so these are the main flows that every brand should really have set up. We set up these up for all of our clients. So pre-purchase, you have the welcome flow. This is for new subscribers. You've got site abandonment, browse abandonment, abandoned cart, and then abandoned checkout for all stages of the buying process. Then on post-purchase, you have the first-time buyer series for people that just bought for the first time. Repeat buyer series for everyone that continues buying. VIP flow for the people that are your best customers. Customer win-back flow for people that stop buying for a long time. Sunset unengaged to get rid of unengaged people, keep your list clean, and lower your Klaviyo bill. Then for SMS, I would add the SMS welcome series, the SMS response flow, the SMS abandoned cart, and I would actually also add an SMS browse abandonment flow. Just like the core SMS flows all set up. So there's a couple important points I want to make. Let me organize my thoughts quick and I'll come back. Alright, so a couple important points I want to make here. These are just like somewhat fundamental things that Salt and Stone could be adding to their flows. So first is the welcome series, and I just wanted to add here that they should be adding their best performing evergreen campaign emails to the back end of this flow every month. What I mean by that is that typically we will exclude people that are inside of the welcome series while they're inside of the welcome series, and then they can join our campaign emails once they're out. And when you add your best performing campaign emails to the back end of the welcome series, you're just giving them another chance to buy if they still haven't bought at the end of that series. You may as well give them your best content before they get to your normal everyday campaign content. So that's just a quick note. Any questions on that, leave a reply in the comments. Normal flows. For abandoned cart and abandoned checkout, I would consider making these specific to collection. So having it branch out based on the collection. And this should be added to browse abandonment as well. Thing is, you're going to have a general section for these, for abandoned cart and abandoned checkout, because they may have multiple products in their cart or their checkout. It's actually very common, obviously. So you're going to have a general section for people that have multiple different collections in their cart or checkout. Moving on to first-time buyer series, I would build this specific to collection for sure. So based on what they bought, they should be in a separate branch of this flow. And again, you're going to also need a general section, a general path for this flow for people that had a bunch of products from multiple collections. Moving on to repeat buyer series, I would add longer time delays here for subscribe and save emails that push people from just being regular buyers into subscribe and save members. So that's a really important thing to add here. And other than that, just get the general flow set up every single one of these. And then at the end of every month, you're going to want to take the time to audit every single one, make sure they're performing well. That's something I cover in my split testing YouTube video if you want to check that out. But that's a wrap. This is the whole strategy that we just mapped out for Salt and Stone along with the campaign calendar. If you have any questions on this, drop a reply and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, I'm going to leave a link in the description if you're interested in us setting up a strategy like this for your e-commerce brand. We are an email and SMS marketing agency called Rame Copy, and we pretty much guarantee we will boost your email and SMS revenue $30K to $100K a month in just 60 days, or you don't pay. That's mainly for established brands, but even if you're not an established brand, we'll still make you a specific guarantee. Otherwise, you don't pay. So there's going to be a link in the description if you want to jump on a call with me. We'll just talk about your current situation, your goals, how we can help you get there, all that type of stuff. Also, I send content very similar to this type of stuff 5 times per week to my email list. You can jump on that list 100% free by hitting the bottom link in the description. And yeah, that's about all I got for you. I'll see you inside my email list.